What's up, fellas? Urban Red Pill here. Before I get into the topic, I just want to let you guys know I'm gonna be doing this series called the Anchor Cunt. And the first video I'm gonna do about this is, what does my definition of that mean, and certain signs to look for, and we're gonna broaden it out from there. It's not a I would probably start with maybe top five things, but with this anchor cunt, it's all type of different avenues on what they do to actually pull the tricks that they do. So I'm gonna start the series off with five, and as things start cycling through the news outlets that triggers me to see that this is an anchor cunt, I will make a video on it, and we can, just kind of so we can help each other out, help the guys out to kind of spot this on a normal basis where we won't be tricked by this shit. Now, this video here, it's gonna go and talk about prostitution, all right, and I want to talk about this 52 fake double reverse Hail Mary trick play that gynocracy and women have been running, and they're running this play right in men's faces, right? And that got some guys are picking up on this, but most I could tell just by speaking about some of these things that they just don't get this play. Now, in the description, I'm going to have two articles. One is going to be about New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, where those guys who know about sports and in the sports world know that he got jammed up a little bit in Florida at a massage parlor. Prostitution, the whole thing, sex slaves, however that is. Second article is going to be about they did a chart on the top colleges that are involved, well, in other words, sugar babies, which are the college females that are involved with the sugar daddy website, which goes hand in hand on transactions or whatever the case. And I'm going to get into this. Now, the Robert Kraft situation, he's getting ran through the public. Of course, he's a billionaire, so with money comes a bunch of over the hill, post wall sluts that are gonna shame him. How dare he just goes to a massage parlor? He's a billionaire, creep, and all of that. Next to them, what you have, I call them their killer bees, these beta male blue pill bisexuals, right? And they line up with these women, and any article you read on this Robert Kraft thing, you will go to the comment section. Not only will you see bitter, over the hill, angry twats talking about how creepy it is for him to be doing what he's doing, and the killer bees, the beta male blue pill bisexuals that are sitting right next to them talking about how bad and terrible of a guy that he is, right? On the other side, you got the number one school that's involved in this as the sugar babies happens to be Howard University. And for all you pro-wax, and this is no shade at whoever the real pro-blacks are, but I know most of them are not with. These are just pro-wax who sit around and talk about how black women are the queens. And like I did an earlier video talking about these men actually sleep well at night, knowing that they rely on these black queens to keep the lights on. Now, these same queens that they pedestalize, these college tuition whores are whoring themselves off to old guys, right? So you have to ask yourself, y'all just follow me with this. You have to ask yourself, what's the difference between what Robert Kraft is doing at a parlor and what the sugar daddy with sugar baby website is doing? And this is the trick that's being played. The difference is this, and this is the thing that women, feminism, does not want to ever happen in the West, in the United States. They do not want this to happen. And I call it the M&Ms. The M&Ms is market and monetization on sex. That's it. Market, monetization on sex. M&Ms. I'm going to tell you what I mean by this. What Robert Kraft did, he went to a parlor. It's like going to a fast food restaurant. They have a menu, and whatever it is that you service or whatever you want to order to eat, there's a price for that, and that's what you get. Women do not want a market or monetization on sex. The reason why they don't want this is because it deletes the gray area. Now, the reason why the sugar daddy website is still open is because even though they're still exchanging money for sex, the female gets to determine what that monetary value is. In other words, they're getting their student loans paid off or help with it. But every woman's student loan debt is different. You may have Becky's student loan debt, hers may be at $50,000, and you have Bonquisha's, hers may be at $100,000. So what happens is they need a gray area where what they ask for in exchange for their bodies is not the same. You kind of get where I'm going? So if Becky's is $50,000, Bonquisha's is $100,000, their wants and needs through this website is going to be different. So you cannot put a market on this transaction. That's the reason why that website is still up. Those of us who know, remember Backpage.com. There's a reason that site is shut down and Sugar Daddy website is still up. Why? It's because Backpage.com is the same thing that Robert Kraft did. Backpage.com gives an actual monetary value on what exactly it is that you're getting. They probably had blowjobs for this price, or maybe a full Monty, the 3-piece, for a whole nother price. Pro Wax, most of your black queens were on there also. So my thing is this. Man, you gotta wake up and stop letting them play this trick on you. This is a trick. The reason why a market is not good, well, let's give an example here. Let's just say that you know how we rate women, dime piece of 10s, 6s, hard body 4s, and stuff like that. Let's just say the market for a dime piece is $80. How much do you get for a nickel piece? That means her worth, like, you cannot have these, you see them out there, these 5s or 6 masquerading around like they're dime pieces. That won't fly anymore. How can a nickel tramp coerce a guy into marriage and provision if he knows her monetary value for the sex exchange is only $40? You understand that? Like, they can't fool, like, they know guys with our logic, we run off of, especially if you put numbers on something, we're going to stick to that formula. If a dime is $80, it's going to be real hard for a nickel cunt to coerce a guy into accepting her as a nickel, but offering her marriage, provision, family, and all these things, stay-at-home mom, and all those things. You can't even convince them to do that. That's what love, all these little dopamine rushes going through them. If you put a market on her vagina, she can't leverage it anymore. And this is what they don't want. Women want to be the only ones in charge of leveraging what that vagina is worth. Think about all the barfly sluts that were, and you know, we talk about this when we talk about the carousel riders. How do you think carousel riders, let's say a hard body 6, is able to land a high value guy and have him offer provision, security, and finances over her life? How do you think that happens? It's because he doesn't know any better. He does not know that she was the town bicycle in the other city that she was living in. But she moved to another city, and now he thinks, you know, now she's a reformed whore. She's into church, and he thinks he has something wholesome. Why? Because there's no market on it. There's no monetary value on it. The worth to the man is the woman can control, like what she can do is chameleon her way out of it, turn to something else, make herself seem of a higher value than she really is. And all she does is just need this guy to bite. And it's a done deal. This here, just with these two examples, just shows you the hypocrisy and gynocentrism and how men have these blinders on. How the hell are you going to throw Robert Kraft under the bus, but then no one says anything about the Sugar Daddy website? One more example, and this ties into the Sugar Daddy type thing. You ever notice in the United States, if the sellers of any corporation or any business sells a consumer or the buyer a product, and let's just say whether the product is illegal, like let's say even like a dope dealer. Like if a dope dealer goes out there selling a product, but that product is illegal, he's selling heroin, opiates, whatever. When that whole situation gets found out, the person who gets punished is the seller. The buyer is pretty much looked at as the victim or the innocent person. Remember, you have, you know, the villain. For every villain you have to have the opposition. So they make the villain the seller and the buyer as the victim, even though the buyer went and asked for those goods. That's with selling dope. And it's also the same thing if, like a McDonald's, if McDonald's is cycling out McChickens that are making people sick or have some type of illegal substance in them, who does society and the feds, the government, and everybody goes after? They go after the seller, right? But do you notice this does not apply when it comes to these massage parlors? Think about it. The massage parlor chicks are they're selling. They are the sellers. The buyers are the men that come and buy their services. But notice who gets taken down as the villain and who's the hero when it comes to that situation. That's one of the few situations where a seller is let off the hook. Nothing happens to her. Nothing happens to that organization. The villain is the buyer. And as you can see, that's what Robert Kraft's going through. You see what I'm saying? That is gynocentrism right in your face. Try to open a business and sell a bad product or sell an illegal product. And watch how quick you get taken down because you're the seller. They hold you more responsible for the product that you sell than they actually do the actual buyer. Except when it comes to women. These women are being portrayed in the media as sex slaves. What the fuck is that? What is a sex slave? You got a bunch of men that have been arrested and charged for a misdemeanor crime for being a seller. But then you go all the way on the other side of the bridge You got a sugar daddy website that's up that's doing the exact same thing. But the difference is there is no menu price on what you're buying and what the seller's selling. The seller gets to create whatever, and I told you it all depends on where her dad is. That's the trick that they're running. Women want to control the way the exchange for sex and money with men is operated. Anytime there's any push for a guy to monetize what their vagina's worth, this is what's happening. You're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up shamed by them and their killer bees. They beta male blue pill bisexuals that are going to come and tell you how much of a evil person you are, and they'll throw some Bible verses, all kind of crap, knowing that they paid for sex one way or another. If you took a woman out for dinner, or some people's time is valuable, so if you give her your time, you're still paying. I just wanted to kind of, I hope this makes some type of sense. Sometimes things play in your head a little more detail as to when you say it. I'm hoping I'm explaining this in a way that's kind of clear and you guys can understand where I'm coming from and see this trick that's being played, where the difference between a massage parlor and sugar daddy is that the woman creates the value on what the exchange for sex is by